You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring attorney, guest, and former felony prosecutor Eric Faddis.
The case of Lindsey Shiver, former beauty queen from Georgia, meets a former Auburn University football player in college. Looks like the perfect couple, the football player and the cheerleader, and it all is good and well in the world for many years. On the outside, everybody looks, this is the couple. This is the couple that does everything. But what goes on behind closed doors is anybody's guess. Something went on behind closed doors enough for her to feel the need to cheat on her husband in the Bahamas that they fly to on their private jet at their private home there. And then after, that relationship gets going a little bit, she's just not happy enough. She wants something else. Starts telling the boyfriend, kill him, literally, in text messages. Is it just that? Is that just the words of a frustrated wife that wants some excitement in her life and is just kind of venting? Or does this go much further to a foiled, attempted murder plot? Joining me to discuss, Eric Faddis, defense attorney, former prosecutor. Lindsey Shiver, she is in the Bahamas. She is going to face trial there. So is the boyfriend and the hitman. It's going to be very interesting to see how this is all treated there. What's your take on this case from like a 10,000 foot perspective?
This illustrates just that old adage that looks can be deceiving. Like you said, everything looked so idyllic on the outside, but clearly there was some corrosive, toxic stuff going on within these relationships. And looking at that text message, kill him. If it was just that, if that's all we had. I think some folks might say, oh, people pop off and they get upset and they say things. But when we look at the allegations of cooperation, when we look at enlisting other people towards that end, then it starts to become a little more bona fide in the eyes of some in terms of what that text really meant.
How much responsibility lies on the different parties in this case? Because Lindsey, beyond just the kill him, sent the boyfriend many pictures of her husband. This is what he looks like. Enough for the boyfriend to get in contact with his friend to say, I'm almost ready to do this. The friend saying, I'm ready to come out of retirement to do this. Apparently, almost hinting that maybe he's done something like this in the past. But Lindsey's the one who's asking these questions. Those two just seem to be having a conversation. It never got to the point of we're going to go make a hit on him down here at the Piggly Wiggly or something. It was very much, this is what my girlfriend is saying to me. She's the one saying it. So how much culpability comes into play for all these parties? And we are talking about a Bahama court.
Yeah, right. And I don't know if hitmen get Social Security after retiring and how that whole thing works. But but in looking at it, there's this theory of complicity in the law, and essentially what it says is that if someone has knowledge and of a potential crime that's going to be committed, provides material aid, and certainly if they provide direction, if it's at their behest, they often can be held as criminally responsible as the hitman, as the middle person who's connecting the two. And so even though Shiver, may not have taken specific actions herself to try to carry out a murder, the fact that she is allegedly at the helm of this is really problematic for her and places her really on the same level as the potential hitman in terms of criminal responsibility.
There's a lot of video on this case, police body cam video. One of the videos shows police showing up at their home as the family is getting ready to go on a trip to the Bahamas. And the police are called because her husband took luggage out of her vehicle to put in his truck because him and the boys, their kids, are going to be spending the vacation together. She makes a claim that he shoved her out of the way to get the luggage. And then it turns out, she really wants to fly on the private jet of the family, not to go on the family vacation together. They can't suck it up, or she can't suck it up enough to go, let's do this for the kids. Let's let our shit sit to the side and be there and help these kids have a happy time. No. She wants to fly on the private family jet of the parents of the husband to go see her boyfriend in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
It's not a good look. And seemingly have no shame about it whatsoever.
you cringe a little bit when you hear that, because just from a human perspective, and that's the perspective from which the jury's going to be looking at this in part, is who would do that? That just seems so, especially when there's conflict going on and everything else that's depicted in that body camera video. Who would do something like that?
A narcissist that has no feelings for anyone other than themselves and can't see the forest, beyond the trees. I mean, I said this the other night on Court TV with Vinny. They have a very good way of cutting their nose off to spite their face. And everyone else can see it, but like, what's wrong? What happened? I kind of feel like that's what's happening here. I think she felt so justified in her actions that she doesn't really see just how absurd they are. And not everyone else is going to think the same way, but she seems to be incapable of seeing that.
No, I hear you. I think what her side is going to say is like, hey, look, it's easy to kind of get tunnel vision when you're so enmeshed in this high level conflict with a significant other. Sometimes it just, you feel like a certain way, and then you assume that everyone else would see it that way because you're so into it and that's your feeling from it. And what it results in is kind of a detachment from reality, such that onlookers are like, what are you doing? Yeah. Whereas to the person, it seems totally reasonable.
Yeah. And that's the scary part with some of these. That's where we're always like, how? Why are they doing it? Because that's how they think. And healthy people do not think that way. I always say it, all roads lead to narcissism. And I think this is another one that's doing exactly that. Will be fascinating to see how this plays out in the Bahamian court system.
Are you ready to listen to this podcast ad-free?
Then hit subscribe to the True Crime Today Premium Plus channel now on Apple Podcasts.
You'll instantly have access to all of our episodes labeled Advance Ad-Free. You'll hear the interviews before everyone else and with no interruptions.
No interruptions.
Subscribe to the True Crime Today Premium Plus channel now on Apple Podcasts.
And start binging now.